Hello and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be doing the 6th or maybe 7th by now episode of the Saturday show. So last week's episode of this was a bit shorter. That I can check right now my channel. So this is the 6th. But yeah, that's all good. So just in case you missed the last episode of the Saturday show, I am going on the Belgium trip in October, as far as I am aware. As far as the Bad Heist goes, we've not made much progress on that. We've still only got 2 cast members. I'm not really sure how to get any more members of the cast. So we're stuck with that for now. As far as the book I'm writing goes, I am now on chapter 3. I've got 5,500 words, and most novels have 20,000 words. So it's going to be longer than 20,000 words, probably. But anyway, yeah, for those of you who missed the news, the Snooper's Charter is back and bigger than ever. If I go to my Twitter, there's a link I posted on it. Yeah, go to the fucking thing, tweets. And to this link, and there. Security services powers to be extended in wide-ranging surveillance bill. I will be doing a video on this probably, but anyway, surprise extension of bill's scope beyond legislation to modernise law on tracking communications data was agreed only this week. The government is to introduce an investigative powers bill that is far more wide-ranging than expected, including an extension of the powers of the security services in response to the surveillance disclosures by the NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. Legislation will include not only the expected Snooper's Charter, enabling the tracking of everyone's web and social media use, but also moves to strengthen the security services' warranted powers for the bulk interception of the content of communications. Police state. Nazi Germany clone, anyone? The surprise extension, I'm just going to read a bit of the article here. The surprise extension of the scope of the bill beyond legislation to modernise the law on tracking communications data was agreed within government only this week. It appears that David Cameron, the twat himself, has decided to take advantage of his unexpected majority in the Commons to respond to Snowden's disclosures by extending the powers of the security services. The Home Office says the investigative powers bill will better equip law enforcement and intelligence agencies to meet their key operational requirements, i.e., beating the shit out of anyone who doesn't like the Tories, and address the gap in these agencies' ability to build intelligence and evidence where subject of interest, suspects, and vulnerable people have communicated online. And subjects of interest include the human rights, the EU, freedom of thought, freedom of speech, anything that goes against the Conservatives, anything that isn't propaganda. Ministers promised to provide for appropriate oversight arrangements and safeguards. But there is no immediate detail on how the complex web of intelligence and surveillance commissioners and parliamentary oversight might be strengthened. By beating the shit out of anyone who disagrees with them, that's how it might be strengthened for them. The government also promises that the legislation will respond to issues raised by David Anderson, the official reviewer of counter-terrorism legislation, in his assessment of bulk surveillance powers used by the police and security services under the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000. So yeah, it's back, and now they know all communications, not just on the social media, which is bullshit. So yay! Now, those of you who watched my videos on Thursday and Friday might know that they went up early those 2 days. And that's because I was going out for those 2 days. On Thursday I did some canoeing along the canal that's quite nearby, and I actually didn't capsize for once, which was great. We did try and blockade every single fucker's boats, including our own boats. There were four boats, 10 people, and what happened was we just got in front of each other's boats, trying to block them off. I put my brother's boat into a wall, which was quite fun. My brother's friend fell in as he was trying to get into the boat after he'd had his lunch, and someone else fell in as they were trying to get out of the boats at the end of the day. Yeah. So that was what I did on Thursday. It was quite fun. It was the first time I'd ever done canoeing, and I was actually pretty good at it. And then on Friday I did archery. Well, on Friday morning I did archery. And I found out that I wasn't terrible at it. Well, I was, but at least I wasn't the worst. I actually hit the target, unlike someone else who hit everything but the target. I hit the white most of the time, inside the target most of the time. Outside the target completely a few times, the black twice, the blue twice, the red none, the gold none. Yeah, I was terrible, but I wasn't the worst, so yay! Then it was Friday afternoon, and that led to mountain biking. We didn't really go in the mud that much, or hills or anything. We went along the canal again. We did go along the river that runs alongside. It fell part of the way, but it wasn't much. And I don't really have much to say about the part where we went along the river, but I do about the canal part. I crossed twice. One was my brother, stopping in the middle of the fucking path for no fucking reason whatsoever. The second was someone who supposedly had a faulty pedal, but the only fault with it was that they weren't putting their fucking foot on it. So they obviously didn't know how to ride a bike. And they were going really slow just to piss off everybody else, because there's not enough room to overtake there, and they'd purposefully got to the front before we set off. So they were in front, pissing everybody else off by moving slowly, and then suddenly, oh, I'll just stop here. Yep, perfect place to fucking stop. And we ended up crashing. But yeah, whoever the fuck decided it was a good idea to put cobbles on the side of a fucking canal needs to die. That was the... Okay. I got onto the cobbles. That killed my speed. That didn't help handling though. That almost sent me into the fucking canal. And then, of course, you can't start again on cobbles once you've started. So while everybody else was going off on their bikes, I had to drag the fucking bike forward until there was no more cobbles. And then, of course, there were patches of cobbles. So yeah, that was a lot of swearing. Swearing at cobbles. But that journey was, we did more distance than we got into the town area. But we did more distance. Mountain biking in an hour, no, a couple of hours actually, than we did canoeing all day. So yeah, that shows the speed we were moving at. But yeah, that really is all for this video. Links to my Twitter and the article I've read part of will be in the description. Let me just read you a quote, actually. This is the return of the Snooper's Charter. Even as the ability to collect and return data gets less and less workable, we should expect attacks on encryption, which protects all of our security. Data collection will create vast and unnecessary expense. Yep. Basically, it's like what's happening with the taxes. Governments are creating giant loopholes for their friends who own big businesses to get through so they don't have to pay tax. But then everybody else decides they don't have to pay tax because there's a giant loophole they can just step through. And basically, the government are doing that. They're opening a giant loophole so they can get into fucking everybody's private life and make it public. But then there's hackers who then go, yeah, loophole motherfuckers. So that's all for this video. That's all for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and as always, subscribe. Links to both Twitter and this article will be in the description. So yeah,